Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, you are the most welcomed. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, like and comment and share this video. Please excuse the lighting. The clouds are kind of covering the sun right now, so it's just going in and out. There's really nothing I can do about it. I'm sitting right in front of the window. So in today's video, I wanted to share 5 tips that absolutely helped me through my work days as a wellness director. Previous job was a wellness director. I managed about 50 residents and a staff of almost 15 caregivers. And so I just want to share what helped me get through the day and how I organize my day to just make it as smooth as possible. If you are a wellness director, you know that not every day is the same. Like, you just don't know what you get. But these are some of the things that I did that made my workflow a little bit easier. So tip number 1 is delegation. For me, it was very important for the staff to just know, number 1, what their role is, what their responsibilities were, and then also is very important to just delegate the work that needs to be done. Every day could be different. You may have residents who need more attention than others, and so making sure that you know what the needs are for that day, for that shift, and that you are delegating the work accordingly. And oftentimes it helps to keep people accountable for the work by assigning someone specifically to be the lead, and most often it's usually the med tech that could serve as the lead on the floor, or the supervisor. And so you leave them responsible to make sure that the work that you've delegated is followed through accordingly during the shift. So number 1 would be delegation. Number 2 is setting up a system. And so what I mean by that is my days look different in the beginning of the day than the end of the day. Most of the rush hour, the busy work, I would say, was always beginning to midday, and then after that it just kind of slows down. In the beginning of the day, I set up systems. We would have morning huddles, and then after that I would have a quick meeting with the care staff and just establish what needed to be done. And then after that, if I had any follow-up meetings with other people, with vendors and all that, I had a set schedule or set time for those people. But it was very important for me to know that in the beginning of my day, a certain type of work needs to be done, and at the end of the day, I mainly focused on administrative work. So reviewing care plans for new residents or current residents, just reviewing things that happened during the day that need to be followed up within that day. Also helping with dinners. The facility that I worked at was always short during second shift, so it was important for me to help out wherever. So in the dining room, I would help set up the tables, make time for the things that are important pertaining to the second half of the day. And that's just how I was able to manage my days, just knowing, okay, what needs to be done in the first half of the day, and then what do I need to focus my attention on the second half of the day. The third tip is to have a checklist for move-ins. Move-ins can be hectic. Whether it's in or out of your control, move-in sometimes can just be a lot. You've got a new resident, you're dealing with family members who have questions, concerns, fears, and all that. And essentially it's up to you as a nurse to just kind of build that rapport with the new resident and the family members to just help them feel more welcomed and just at ease with the new transition. It's never easy when these residents move into facilities. They're leaving their home environment, they're leaving everything that they've ever known for so many years. They're moving to a new facility with people that they don't know. So as a nurse, you're part of the very few people that they get to build that bond with. And so with that, it's the perfect time for you to find out a lot about your patient or your resident. You're not going to find out everything, but there's very specific information that you need to find out for move-in, whether you are doing an assessment in person or over the phone, or you're driving to the person to do a moving assessment. I've done all those. Most important information to find out is the code status, if they have an advanced directives, their preferred hospital, because sometimes you have patients who are really picky with what hospitals they're sent to in case of an emergency. So it's important to find that out. Their preferred funeral home, their allergies, find out if they are fall prone. It's very important. If you're able to do a move-in assessment on the patient in person, it's very important to find out how they ambulate. Do they use a walker? Do they use a cane? Do they use a rollator? And, it's important to understand how they move about and their gait. Older people are very prone to falls. So you want to find out, at what level are they at when it comes to ambulating and just mobility in general. I'm not sure if this is the same for every facility, but in my facility, we use what we call a PME form, which stands for Physician Medical Evaluation Form. So basically, this form is filled out by the residents' physician. So they go in and visit, and the physician is going to say, okay, well, this person definitely needs to be somewhere like an assisted living. So this form includes a list of medications that the resident is currently taking. It includes their abilities to ambulate or not. It includes information about whether they use mobility equipment, wheelchairs, canes. It also includes some slight information on when it comes to ADLs. Are they able to shower themselves? Are they able to eat on their own? Just a very basic information. I want to make sure that it's filled out completely. With that form, here's a special tip. With that form, make sure that the provider is also written an order for all of their medications, because I'm pretty sure that most facilities require that residents, have their medication management taken care of by, the building, the facility itself. You also do have residents who manage their own medications, which is fine. But in the event where you are doing a move-in assessment for a new resident who you will be managing their medications, it's very important that with that PME form, that the provider also writes complete orders, y'all. The medication, the dosage, the route, the frequency that they are to take, like complete medication orders. And I stress that because there is nothing worse than having a new resident come into your building and you don't have full orders for their medications, and you got to send those orders out to pharmacy, and pharmacy is going to be like, we can't take this because it's not a full order. Make sure it's got the physician's signature on it, just the full thing, because it's going to save you time. It's going to save you delay from your resident getting their medications delivered on time. And this is very specific tips for residents, for those of you who use outside pharmacies. If you're using an outside pharmacy that packages or sends that fills medications for your residents, this is very important. So another tip for move-ins is it's very important to communicate with the resident and the family members and whoever else is involved in their move-in that it's important for you to have all the documentations before they move in. It helps so much because as a wellness director, you are busy wearing different hats and managing multiple hats all at once. And so when it comes to medications, make sure that they're moving in. Make sure you communicate with the family members and the residents that it's important that they move in with at least a week to 2 weeks worth of medications if you are managing their medications. Just to give you time, not only for them to settle in their new home, but also for you to get all your paperwork ready to send all the orders and anything that's needed to the pharmacy so that the pharmacy can take care of filling those orders. Don't want a resident moving in with just like 2 days worth of medications and you're like, what are we gonna do? Number 4 is staying on top of high priority things. One of them being, residents who have wounds, residents who are high fall risk, assigned to the caregivers or even the med tech on that floor. Let them know, hey, let's keep an eye on this person for today or this week. Report back to me, how they're doing, and, if there's any changes in their condition, especially for wounds, y'all. If you've got a resident who's bedbound or, they barely move out of their seat, their TV chairs, they just don't move, they stay on their butts all day, they're going to be more prone to, wounds, to skin breakdown. And so it's important to keep an eye on those because once they start, it can escalate very quickly. And next thing you know, you're going to need a wound nurse, you're going to need all types of things. So to avoid the trouble, just go ahead and make sure that your CNAs or your med techs are reporting back to you, residents who are high risk, residents who keep falling, they're unstable, they look like they may need a walker or a cane, or whatever it is. Just also part of the high priority things are medication refills. If you work in a building where you have med techs, just make sure that your med techs are on top of the timeline, who's got 2 weeks worth of medications left, who's got a week worth of medications, who needs a refill, if there's pharmacy that needs to be contacted. Make sure that your med techs are aware of when exactly to call or to request orders or new refills for medications. Just make sure that you're able to cover your bases. Don't always fully rely on your med techs. Just always know that, let them know that you will check in on them on some of these priorities, because it's very important. If one person drops the ball, then it's a trickle down effect, and you want to avoid all sorts of drama. And my 5th and final tip for just making your workflow a lot easier as a wellness director is to just make a to-do list. That's probably a first priority when you start your workday. Make a to-do list so that you know the things that you can focus on, because I guarantee you, as a wellness director, you are wearing so many hats and there's so many different things that you're managing all at once in your building that it's very easy to just get caught up and forget, and have time just fly by, and next thing you know, you've forgotten about something that you were supposed to follow through on. So a to-do list, prioritizing the things that absolutely needs following up on, and go from there. I would write a to-do list and then put a star next to items that I absolutely needed to tackle by the end of the day. And so I would carry around a little notepad with me like it's my Bible, y'all. Like, I always, everywhere you saw me in the hallway, I had something to write on and something to write with, because anytime people will see you in the building, they've got something to tell you. The family members, your coworkers, the staff, the residents themselves. And so you're only one person, and your brain can only retain so much information. So it was very important for me to have somewhere to jot things down, and then to also prioritize my day. A to-do list just kind of keeps you focused for the day and productive for the day. Oh, here's a bonus one. Have at least quarterly staff meetings. That's very important. If you're working in a facility that hires people often, you have that revolving door of staff. Make sure that you are having your staff meetings quite often, because you'd be surprised how many people you have working under your management that they hear what you're saying, but they're not really paying attention, and so things can fall through the cracks. So I think at least one meeting a month would work. If you need to have more, go ahead, because of course things happen and you need to communicate with the staff as often as you can, just to make sure that your shifts are going smoothly. All right, y'all, that is it. I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and please let me know in the comment section below, for anybody who's been a wellness director, for other tips would you add on there. We'll see you in my next video. Take care. Bye.